Peloton. Even Peloton.
Yeah, exactly.
They had a $2 billion write-down after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So like I had that at a small scale. Like I had a $20 million write-down on, inventory that didn't sell, right? Like Raj, I'm sure you have a story of X whatever. They did it at 2 billion. So it shows that like there's this pitfall.
Wait, what went wrong with this $20 million inventory? Like, why didn't it sell?
It's 2015. Okay, so teleport back to 2015. Things are going great. So our revenue numbers were $10 million in 2012, $30 million in 2013, $60 million in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we were going to double. So we had, or just about double. So we had projected, I think it was like 100 mil in 2015. And if you're a hardware company in retail, like we were in Amazon, Best Buy, Target, wherever, you have to build inventory ahead of time. So you have to make a guess, you have to make a projection and say, well, I think this Christmas season where you sell 50% of your, dollars or more, we think we're going to sell $50 million worth of product.
Mm-hmm.
And so we build, inventory to meet that projected demand. And then the numbers start ticking through and you get daily, weekly summaries of every single Best Buy retail location. And I don't know about you guys, but like I've never seen a revenue projection graph that's correct. Not even close.
Yeah. But this is brutal. Like you're trying to hit these numbers. You're sitting on this like inventory.
And it's not software where you can scale up infinitely for free or scale down, if things aren't working well. We were stuck at so I think we did $80 million in sales in 2015.
Which is great.
Which
like
sounds
to go
great.
From 60 to 80 is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic, but it wasn't 100.
Uh-huh.
And so we didn't have $20 million worth of inventory because there's,
there's
I think
a margin.
We probably had $10 million or some like of our hard costs that we had outlaid or that we owed to the factory and they were going to collect, or try to collect. And so that was 2015 and it was Christmas 2015. Nothing like it felt very hard. I probably phoned, I don't even remember, but we had just moved to Redwood City and Raj was around the corner then with his company. And so we probably, I don't even remember, probably had some painful moments there. So like, the company was still, and we were hiring on a projection, hiring on a curve that had matched kind of our, revenue rates, like logical.
Yeah, and you
right?
probably locked in a bunch of costs for the next year as well.
Locked in a bunch of costs, had already put the plan. We had just moved to a fancy new office. Yeah, had 180 people on staff. And, that's that 20 mil swing is all of your profit and a lot of your kind of runway for the next year.
Yeah. Plus it makes it impossible to raise at that point. Like,
impossible to raise. And our supply chain is full of inventory, which means that if we wanted to launch our next products, they would first have to fire sale off the old product, which would then piss off the new customers. They're like, I just bought this like older one. Why would I buy a new one? So there's, no end in sight of problems.
Wow.
And so that was 2015.
Yeah, and you miss a little bit and you get this huge pain, right? Like that's why consumer hardware is so hard. And like, I think that Eric's really have a really interesting model to solve that problem.
I think it's particularly tricky when there's the software component and like this isn't like, you're not selling something to babies and there's always the X number of babies. Like this is, there's a kind of like a fatty consumer component to hardware.
So that was another realization. We were in a hits-driven business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We weren't just selling exactly a tool that you use every year and there's more people who want that tool. We had to have a hit in order to sell. Like our peak sales were like the month of the launch and Christmas. There were no other peaks. Like the rest of the year was just kind of flat or average.
This also reminds me, like when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, like he was way more conservative financially the second time around, like way more conservative. And like, because he was scared, about like these products not being a hit. So he bought much less inventory. He did slower run.
He launched fewer products. Like they had one product in each quadrant
That's right.
when they
And
relaunched.
it took him like 5 years to get the iPod out again. But like even the iMac runs were very and the balance sheet of Apple was very healthy throughout the whole run, which is very different from Next and also the first Apple, where there was a lot of chaos because of one of his products wasn't a hit, right? The Lisa or another one was a failure.
Even the Mac didn't sell as many as they were hoping for. Right?
Initially, it was seen as a failure when he was there, right?
Yeah.
So, this is just also learning for all consumer hardware.
Is it in general just better to be sold out than have too much inventory? Like you just always want to just produce less than you need?
If you can sustain the company on that. And so, for this time around, I'm thinking, what is sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
I want this company to be around a long time. And so what does sustainability look for in terms of, paying 3 people's salary? Paying for this inventory, paying for support, being able to do warranty support for people after the product ships.